Hi everybody, it's Denise Guru and welcome to my channel once again. It's been a while. I've been really busy doing a lot of my own internal work and my own evolutionary process. Today is May 21st and I know the Denver metro area down there got hit with snow. My old stomping grounds, Franktown, got another foot of snow, but we were saved. We were spared this time. We just have a lot of wind today. It's just been nasty. And I feel sorry for the poor hummingbirds. They're trying to get in the feeder, and the wind is just going against them. Ever have days? Yeah, we have days like that once in a while. But today I wanted to talk to you about humanity and evolving, and it's all about energy. And what we've been up against, as far as ancestral and passing things down from one family member to the next. And it's kind of like what I do. It's what I talk to people about. It's what I help them about. And it's about coming out of that 3D programming and stepping up higher into the higher 540 and into the 50 realms. We don't realize that we begin our programming from the last trimester in the womb up to 7 or 8 years of age. At that time in our life, our brain is like a brand new computer. Remember when you used to get a computer and there was nothing in it? And you had to go out and buy all the programs and put the programs inside your computer? Your computer didn't do anything until you actually put the programs in it. And so from that age period, our brain is like a empty computer. And what it does is like a recorder. It becomes a recorder. And it begins to record everything that goes on around us during that period of time. And it's kind of like at that time we're in a state of hypnosis where everything is going into the subconscious mind. That's where our programming is stored, is in our subconscious mind. And we're like in a state of theta, that theta brain state where the imagination goes wild. And I think that's why so many parents are like, my child is such a imagination. It's like some of the things that my grandson comes up of. It's like, oh man, we think that he's like this, oh, he's star child. And actually what it is, he's still in that theta stage. And my daughter's doing the best that she can to groom him instead of program him with our old programming processes. This is why I got into heart math, was because I actually was able to acknowledge and witness for myself old programmings that I was programmed with, and my husband and other friends. And so it's kind of like, okay, the buck stops here. It's time to deprogram, put in new stuff. And so this is kind of what's going on with humanity as we're evolving. And so many of us, most of us with our programming is the programming that we have that's stored in our subconscious mind that plays over and over. It's that programming that puts you on automatic pilot when you're driving down the road, and you're thinking about something else. I used to do my best thinking for my next chapter in my books when I was driving down the road, because I just went on automatic pilot and let my subconscious programming take over, and then I could think about the next chapter in my book. And so, but some of this, most of what we've been programmed with has been, let's just say it's all 3D programming. It's all service to self, self-sabotaging, disempowering, limiting. it's all of those kind of things that we are going through, so it makes it really hard for us to have very good relationships with other people around us and our family members and our friends and our spouses. It's because of all that programming that keeps looping over and over in the background. A very good person, if you don't already know him, listen to Bruce Lipton. He talks about this all the time, and he gets into our genes where, really our genes are only 1% of who we are, and so we think, oh, we're all our genes. There's nothing I can do. I'm a prisoner of my own genes. There's nothing. There's no way I can change that. But that's untrue. We now know that, and that's all part of evolution. The evolving that we're going through. And so, like I said, that old programming that we have, like Windows XP, even older than that. What was it? When we used to have the DOS programs, what was it? C:\, whatever it was, where there was nothing like going on the web or you didn't have Microsoft, you didn't have Word, you didn't have none of that stuff. You had to put it in yourself. But all that old programming, like I said, is stuck in the 3D. And so for all of us who are talking about ascension and riding the waves of the ascension and the event, we really will only be talking about it until we get in and change our programming. It's like this. It's like watching a video, a self-help video, or a book, reading a self-help book. I have, shelves full of those. And we read the book and then we live that, for a little while. We're like, oh, I read this book and it's going to change my life, blah, 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 But then life happens around us and we forget about the book, and then we realize that we are not living anything that we learned about in the book. And that's because we're coming through from the conscious mind. Conscious mind is the mind that loves to create and loves to learn new things and is always looking for the latest and greatest intel. And so we read this self-help book, and a month later, we're reading another one because our conscious mind is looking for new information and the latest and the greatest. And we haven't learned to integrate any of that, and we're still running on that old programming, not realizing that it's there. It sneaks up on you, though, when somebody says, man, you're just like your mother, or man, you're just like your dad. Or you hear something, you say something to your child or your husband, and you go, oh my gosh, I just sounded like my mother. That's old programming. That is the programming that we pass down from one to the next. And so for those of us who are saying that we are ascending and we are changing our life for the better, and you're not doing any of the work, we keep talking about the work. Are you doing the work? Are you doing the work? If you're not doing this kind of work, you're going to have all the information. Your conscious mind is going to have all the information. You're going to be able to talk to somebody about this, but you're not actually living it. You have not integrated this information. It has not become part of you. It's not part of your subconscious programming. And so how do we reprogram that old programming that we have? How do we program in this new way of living, this high 4D? Most of us are living in the middle 4D. I see it every day. I see it all over the internet. We're living in the middle 4Ds because we're all looking for help. Oh, we're experimenting with all of these different healing modalities. And we're out there wanting to heal and heal everybody else. And, but we never go further than that. So looking, it's like okay, here, we have this in our mind that we cannot heal unless we learn this new latest and greatest modality. We cannot heal if we listen to this new latest and greatest speaker. And so we go around and looking, and we take all these courses, and we go to all these conferences, and we just take all this information, take it all in, take it all in, take it all in. But like I said before, if we don't live it and breathe it and think it on a daily basis and practice it on a daily basis, and don't have that certain author of that book or that famous speaker at our beck and call or as a support anyways, none of that is going to integrate into us. It's so we have all this knowledge, so we're all thinking about all of this, but it's actually not integrating into who we are. And so how do you, like I said, how do you change that programming? It's like learning how to drive a car. Okay, so while we're from last trimester to 7 or 8 years, we're using the subconscious mind. We're like in hypnosis. So we're recording everything that's going around us, and even if it's bad or good, we're just taking it in, and it's becoming who we are. And so after 7 or 8 years of age, how do we learn? How do we take in? Well, it's repetition. You've heard that before. Repetition, the mother of all learning. It's like when you go to school, you got to do something over and over and over again. It's like when you learn how to drive a car. You don't just get in that car and go, all right, I read a book on how to drive a car. I think I got it in my conscious mind. I think I know how to drive the car and then you get in it and you're like, wait, I don't know what I'm doing. So it's repetition. It's doing it over and over and over, talking about it, thinking about it, and living it until it becomes part of the programming in the subconscious mind. So there's a lot of modalities out there that help us do that. And of course, heart math is one of them. It teaches us to go to where our true knowledge lies and our true connection to our higher self. For those of us who are wanting to ascend and experience the higher dimensions, we teach you how to, through repetition, through techniques. Some are like meditation techniques, but it's not meditation, because meditation, like I said before, is good while you're in and you're doing the meditation. It's great for you. But when you're done with the meditation, it's really not there. It's not there with you. It's not like you can take it with you. I think that's what I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say here? Anyways, heart math gives you the techniques to learn and recognize when old patterns, we have these patterns that we loop and constantly follow. And so we learn to recognize these patterns that we don't want part of us anymore, because these patterns, like I said, hold us, connect us, keep us anchored into the 3D. And so heart math teaches us how to override that and bring in new patterns by working into the heart center and through repetition. And what happens is when you're doing something like this, science shows you are creating new brain neurons, is the word, brain cells, those little heads with those finger-like things, and you're making new ones, and you're making new ones, and so you're expanding. It's like an expansion of your awareness. It's like, okay, I got this going on, but I have a tool. I have a heart math tool, and I know how to override that. And I know how to make new brain patterns so that I can stop that old programming and let go of my connection to the 3D, work up through the middle 4th dimension and go into the 5th dimension, where We don't need all those healing modalities. We don't need all of that stuff. We will learn exactly how to go within and utilize what we already have. And so, um, so through this work, and there's layers, and like I said before, there's layers and layers and layers and layers. I mean, I know over 40 different techniques that can help you. And it just depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. If you're just someone who is just interested in de-stressing and conserving the vital energy and to not let the energy vampires suck off of your energy, then you know, we can teach you that. But what happens is a lot of people, because they learn this, their heart intuition starts to expand and grow, and they start picking up on what's really going on in the world, and they're like, I feel like there's something else out there. So they're going further down the rabbit hole. And so my other videos talk about, you know, the ascended masters and the sacred spot in the heart, you know, that very, very sacred spiral of energy in the heart, that spark, it's like, okay, think of an outlet in your wall. Your heart is like the outlet in the wall. When you look at the outlet on the outside, you just see this plastic outlet, but you have no idea what's really going on invisibly behind that plastic outlet. Inside of that, there is something going on. And so that's kind of like what our heart is. You know, we see this muscle, this blood pump, and that when we look at it in a 3D experience, we look at it, it's just a blood pump, it's just a muscle. Boop, 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 boop. You know, we don't think about how many millions and millions and millions of times it has to beat to keep us alive. And we never stop to think, well, you know, how does it beat in the first place? How does it know, you know, what to do? And so that is our connection to our higher selves, our guidance. You know, we like to say it's a true connection to our heart, you know, for those who don't want to go down the rabbit hole. But for those of us who are really on that ascension path, they know what that space is. They know what's on the other side. They know who's there helping us and what is all there, you know, waiting and giving us guidance while we're here. So, but, you know, that's kind of like where humanity is going right now. We are waking up to what's inside of us. It's not all that external stuff anymore. We are stepping out of the middle fourth dimension and not needing all of that external stimulus and external modalities and book learning and all of that. We're going, wait a minute. All of that stuff, where did it come from in the first place? You remember when you used to look at somebody and you go, how do they know all that? Where did they get that from? How come I don't have that? Well, it's because we're learning to find that out on our own. And that's by doing that inside work, and that's doing your heart work. And so many people just look at, oh, the heart, oh, you know, oh, love everybody. Oh, what does that mean? I don't know anything about that. Hey, oh, I love you, you know. Oh, you know, but they're not living it. They're in that conscious mode of the knowledge and the words, the external knowledge and the external words, but they're not integrating any of it. And so that's what we're going through right now. We're learning how to integrate that and learn for ourselves, because, you know, nobody's universe, nobody's multiverse is the same. It's like looking at a color. We don't see the same color. It's like looking at a painting. We all see something different in a painting. So it's just, we're all on our own little path and we're all finding our own way. And that's what it's all about. But we are reconnecting with our heart. And we're starting to live through our heart. And we're starting to learn what the feelings are, what it feels like when we're working through our heart. You know, something when something you do moves you. I remember my husband likes to hunt. Yes, I know, I know. I hate it. And we would go up and, you know, scout around to see all the elk. And one morning, it was very, very early. The sun was just coming up. And here they come. Here comes a herd. There's probably 100 of the elk. And it was rut season where the bulls were, you know, they were all into the cows. And all the bulls were behind the cows and they were bugling. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard elk bugle on the TV, but when you hear it in person, it is completely different. It's like a primordial sound. And it hit me in my heart area, and I'm sitting behind my husband on our ATV, and my husband's going, there they are, there, you know, and I'm back there just bawling my eyes out because I could feel that in my heart, and I was moved, and that feeling stayed with me for a long time, and it just lifted me up, and it just filled me with so much wonder and joy and beauty about how beautiful this world is. And okay, so we can learn how to live like that all the time. And if we learn to access that heartfelt emotion and be able to feel it and feel it. I mean, every time, okay, so every time, you know, we're out walking around during the day doing our job, and you know, we started out in the morning and we did our techniques, our heart map techniques, and we get out of bed and we're just ready to go, and we just happy, and we're just looking forward to what the day brings us, and we've done our heart mapping, and we just know what our day is going to be, and we're just excited. And then as we get busy and start thinking and using that conscious mind and letting the subconscious take over, we start to feel that movement, that joy start to wane a little bit. And then because it's starting to wane, that inner light goes beep, beep, you know, it shines brightly, goes, wait a minute, we're starting to wane a little bit. It's kind of like the drug addict that he feels that drug settle and he needs to go for another fix. Well, we do the same thing. We recognize when we're starting to lower, you know, in that feeling, but we don't need to go for a drug. We don't need to go for THC or any of that stuff. We have it right here, and we use the techniques, and instantaneously, because we've done our work and we've got that subconscious programming, it takes over and we're right back again to where we were in the morning. And so it's like being high 24/7, but it's like being high on ourselves. It's not looking for that external, what's the word? I was thinking of that word this morning. You know, we don't need that external coping mechanism. You know, we're not looking for that drug or that drink or the next person, you know, the next person that we're in love with for 6 months, you know, until you know, thinking takes over, and then you're right back where you started from again. This is getting a little bit long, you guys. But anyways, that's a little bit where I wanted to talk about. You know, that's where humanity is going. The true ascenders have learned to step out of that middle 4D programming of searching everywhere else for what's already inside of them. They're connecting to the 5D, and they know that what they're looking for is inside of them, and they know how to access it. And you know, heart map teaches this. And so anyways, that's all I wanted to say for you guys today. And what a ride it's been. Let me tell you, I've just been busy and really creating my world here. And I just so look forward to every day. It's been busy. It's been a grind. We've had, you know, bobbing up and down into the different layers of the different dimensions. But, you know, we learn to recognize, oh, I'm in this dimension. Oh, I'm in this dimension. I know how to raise that up. I have the techniques and the tools to raise that up, and I've done them enough to where it's instantaneous, it's programmed, it's in my subconscious mind now. And it's more than just a book that I read a couple months ago. So anyways, you guys, ride the waves, be responsible for what you are putting in the electromagnetic field, because this world is not going to change until we're all doing this work, until we're all responsible for the feelings and the emotions that we are emitting. Remember that quantum entanglement? You know, somebody can feel your energy. They're not really sure, but that person, you know, oh, that person feels off today. You need to take responsibility, because until we all wake up in the morning and do our heart math techniques and change that old programming and create the world and automatically live it, things aren't really going to change. It's all in front of us, but we still haven't learned to step into it. So anyways, we'll talk to you soon.